Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. In the name of Allah, I am starting a webinar on the UAE Labour Laws 2022. This is organized jointly by Pakistan Embassy in Abu Dhabi and Pakistan Business Professional Council in Abu Dhabi. As we all know that a major part of working life in UAE is governed by the labor laws. So importance of the law is to everyone, whether we are employers or we are employees. And Pakistan Embassy is certainly one where we all land finally to request them if we are in trouble in any way. And the Embassy of Pakistan comes to our assistance or rescue. And it's a great idea of the Embassy of Pakistan and the Pakistan Business and Professional Council to discuss such laws so openly. And the webinar, we have our great expert on the labor laws, Mr. Arnold Gigani. He is the manager of Elliott Management Consulting. And we have Mr. Azhar Ali, the academic director of Tatweer Industrial Inspection and Training Services Limited. I'll be requesting the acting ambassador of Pakistan, His Excellency Imtiaz Firoz Gondal, to have the welcoming address on this webinar. We make a beginning with his address. Excellency, Mr. Imtiaz Gondal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Dr. Hadi Shahid, and I very warmly welcome all the participants, the panelists, and the attendees. The UAE has recently introduced new labor laws, which will reshape the whole culture and landscape of labor force in the UAE. These are very far-reaching and very visionary changes, which will greatly benefit the working people, the laborers, and the employees here in the UAE. The UAE leadership has always taken very strong and good steps for the well-being of working class in UAE. With the introduction of these new labor laws, we are very hopeful that not just ours, but all the working force in the UAE will have better working environment in while in their workplaces. It is an endeavor by the Pakistan Embassy and Pakistan Business Professional Council to educate, to highlight the salient points of these new labor laws for everyone, especially the Pakistan community, so they can properly benefit from the new changes and the new laws. It is also our endeavor to educate our people so that they completely follow the laws which are introduced by the UAE government. It is important that everyone and anyone who is living in UAE fully follows all laws, and in this case, particularly the labor laws. As it is apparent from these laws, that plain reading of these laws very clearly highlights that the focus of UAE leadership is on the well-being of the working force. So it is important for everyone to understand these laws, these rules, and then implement for their own benefit and for the benefit of all the workforce. It is good for both the employees and the employers that now they have very clear guidelines about the rights and duties of employees and the employers. These laws will go a long way in helping to improve the workplace environment and well-being of the working force. On this occasion, I would like to highlight that the Embassy of Pakistan is working with its with dedication to provide all guidance or information to Pakistani community living in the UAE regarding laws, rules, regulations, so that our community lives here in complete peace, harmony, and in accordance with the rules and laws of the UAE. I urge all my countrymen in UAE to follow all the laws, not just the labor laws, but all the laws relating social gatherings, COVID, all other laws as well. I take this opportunity to commend the efforts of Pakistan Business Professional Council and its president, Dr. Kaisar Ami Sahib, for always there to come up with good plans and ideas of educating the Pakistani and rather international community in the UAE on all the developments, not just the rules. The Pakistan Business Professional Council remains very active in educating the overall community here about all the developments that take place in the UAE, especially in the realm of economy. Pakistan Embassy has a very clear vision of being available to our community for any service, for any guidance, for any help. We have maintained an open door policy where any Pakistani can walk in the embassy anytime with his or her problems or issues, and we make our best efforts to resolve them. I would also take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the leadership of the UAE and the government of the UAE for very graciously hosting about 1.6 million Pakistanis in the UAE. They have been treated with dignity and they have been provided the opportunities to express their potential and work for the development of the UAE and Pakistan. Our community, our diaspora, is a very strong link between our two brotherly countries. Our relationship, the bilateral relationship, is people-centric. The successive generations of our people have been closely associated with each other. Pakistanis have played a very important role in the development of the UAE. Finally, I will wish good luck to all the attendees here. I wish them they have very good working environment and they learn from today's seminar where our experts will provide their valuable foresight, insight on this very important topic, and our attendees will learn about their rights and obligations. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Excellency. As a good diplomat, you have guided the community to follow not only the labor law, but all the laws. Thank you very much. We are going on to our webinar's next point. We have Our leader, Dr. Syed Kaisarani, is the President of Pakistan Business and Professional Council, to speak on this occasion for the introduction of this webinar on the Labour Laws 2022 being implemented in UAE, and today's session is a guidelines and explanations for the benefit of the community at large. Dr. Kaisar.
Thank you, Dr. Adishai Saab. Thank you for the introduction. And I thank the whole Pakistan community and other business council also. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Firaz Gundal Saab is acting ambassador of Pakistan to the UAE. Mr. Arnold Gagani, Manager Advisory and Tax Section of Elliott Management Consulting. Mr. Azhar Ali, Academic Director of the Tweed Industrial Inspection and Training Services LLC. All online participants are welcome to the webinar on the new Labour Law 2022. I also thank Australian Business Group and the Philippine Business Council and all other business council for the support and for participating in this webinar, which is very, very informative for business. In today's webinar, you will be updated on the changes made in the labor law, what are the challenges they may be come across, how it will align with private and public sector benefits. Ultimately seeing how it will be affect employees and employers alike. I just want to take you to the history of the United Arab Emirates. UAE formed in the year 1971. And that was, we were the Pakistan was the second country to recognize. And since then, we are part of the United Arab Emirates in contributing and constructing the United Arab Emirates. And till today, as Excellency Gundal Saab mentioned, 1.6 million Pakistanis are there serving in this territory and making as a best country of the world. As you all know, on the completion of the 50 years, 2021, the UAE transformed to one of the leading countries of the world. Now, when it is mentioned internationally, they cannot avoid Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They have to mention that. This is all due to the vision of the leaders of the UAE and also the good laws, the rules and regulations under which the country was working. And the most important, the nation and the resident honoring the laws. For this exceptional progress, labor law plays an important role as they relate to the human resources. UAE, with attractive rules, regulation, and infrastructure, attracted 200 nationalities working in the UAE. It's incredible. Also attracted foreign direct investment. If you see the chart, it's always progressing. The council commend the successful organized Expo 2020 in Dubai, and which has welcomed more than 25 million visitors visiting the Expo 2020. It's not an easy task. It's a record, and I think the whole world knows this is the not easy task if the human resources are not that competent. It's all their credit goes to the human resource and the management and the leadership. And that too under pandemic. And this challenge was attended by the leaders of UAE with their prudent policies. It's not easy to conduct under pandemic. The whole world was closed. We are happy to know that world open for activities after seeing the success of opening of Dubai Expo 2020 and how 25 million visitors attended. This certainly attracted foreign investors from all over the world as 200 countries participated as a pavilion in the expo. Incredible. Now is the vision for 2071, a 50-year plan. Again, I salute the leadership. They keep on targeting things and giving impossible targets. They draw 4 pillars of the plan: united in responsibility, an ambitious and confident nation grounded in its heritage; united in destiny, a strong union bounded by a common destiny; united in knowledge, a competitive economy driven by knowledgeable and innovative Emiratis; and united in prosperity, a nurturing and sustainable environment for quality living. To achieve these targets, the country is to have a good human resources. With 200 nationalities or more working, the UAE are the asset for UAE. And imagine how the government thinks it. With the constant progress and working hard by the leader, they announced Abu Dhabi resident office ADRO, where the policy is to attract talents and to retain talents and to use to achieve these targets and make in the first line of the world. And the professional and the businessmen and the community and the retired people, all they look to live here. They offered 10-year golden visa. They are offering retirement visa. They are offering remote work visa. They are offering freelance licenses. And they are offering 5-year multiple entry tourism visa. And I have the meeting with them, and they say all this in process, they were going to offer citizenship just to retain everyone here and make UAE the best place to live. Certainly, attract talent. Certainly, it will achieve foreign direct investment, which is always growing. It's credible. The labor law will play a great role in retaining the human resources by the employer and to the benefit to the employees. Their complete change, the 2022 labor law, is giving confidence to both to the employer and the employee. And I thank the leadership, the ministry, and all the team members to have such a friendly labor law, which has covered everything for people to live and very fair justification for consideration and compensation. Where in the world, I comment, where in the world that when you start, you must be hearing that people are not getting salaries, people are not paid 3 months, 6 months, 8 months salary, and people are crying. And now, not as that, they put a system of WPS, and everyone gets salary in time. You know, for any reason, anybody is not getting salary or not compensated, that account is blocked, blacklisted. Look how they tackle. Really, now all employees are benefited for that. I have seen many people are salary-less for months and crying, and now no more like that. They empowered the employees, which is that attracts 200 nationalities to work here. Also, this target, especially to have the human resources good, they have now related education, Ministry of Education work hard on that, and another Ministry of Professional work hard to in line with the target that they have to produce and train according to achieve those targets, and the universities and the colleges and the school to work accordingly, and the professional institution to work accordingly, because they will provide such knowledge as the highest, especially in the technology, and the achievement which UAE has it is only because of the technology they are adopting They are adopting always first here in United Arab Emirates for any technology coming, and they take the risk on that. And then they further make more efficient on that. And you make like blockchain or robot or say artificial intelligence, they adopt it. Metaverse, they are having a corporation here and they're saying that they need 40,000 people will be working on metaverse. It's all vision and it's all planning. If you plan, you will achieve. UAE is very lucky because it is a resource and the model of other countries who are here, and we can mold them to the requirement of our target and our vision of 2071 so that we can be achieved, so that everything can be achieved. And we have always the latest used technology for the development where we do like to list them all. We're going on the space. We're thinking, imagine a small country, where they are. I commend really the leadership. And of course, the people and the Emiratis and our residents who are living so long and contributing wholeheartedly to the territory. Also, we do other areas with like a paperless economy. They have a target to have a paperless for climate change. They're working hard on the climate change. Not many countries are like that. But these humans should work for that, and the Ministry of Labour is thinking that accordingly change the labour law, and that will benefit to the development of the employees and benefit to the employer and the economy. Now, how to achieve 27 vision? We need the human resources to calibrate to achieve it. The latest laws now, as Mr. Excellency Gondal Saab said, that there are all the laws, and I will add that there are so many laws in line to organize this country. The ultimately beneficial ownership UBO, they implement anti-money laundering law, AML, they implement economic substance regulation, ESR, they implement country by country CBS reporting, and the latest commercial companies law. All laws framed to put the country in a direction of progress. I will be looking, when you finish this webinar, all will be well updated about the labor laws. And in my closing, I must commend Pakistan Embassy, the extraordinary service provided by limited resource to 1.6 million. And in the consulate in Dubai, it's not easy to handle in the present era all this. And I really thank Mr. Imtiaz Gondal Saab, our ambassador, to always respect the council in high esteem. And from here, I also announced that there will be an event coming up on the Independence Day on the 27th of August. We will be celebrating our Independence Day together. And we asked the invitation, it will be open invitation, and open any nationality can come there. We'll send the information to venue. With that, I thank everyone for listening or for attention. And if you have any question, they can always place it here on the chat box, or you can write to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaisar. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been listening to the President of Pakistan Business and Professional Council, Abu Dhabi. He was giving a brief background of the United Arab Emirates developments and the visionary leadership, giving us the laws which are benefiting the people at large who are in the working class as well as the employers. Changes are coming, and those changes will have to be noticed and followed. We have our expert on this subject of labor laws and taxation, Mr. Arnold Gegani. Today, he will not be talking about the tax, he'll be talking on the labor laws 2022. I'll be requesting Mr. Gegani to take up the subject and join us on the webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hadi, for the introduction. So I'll be sharing the screen, and we can start our presentation. Okay, so thank you very much. Again, my name is Arnel Gagani of Alit Management Consulting. Our topic for today is about UAE labor law. So I'd be happy and it's been an honor to be here in the for inviting me here. It's the first time to be presenting on behalf of Alit Management Consulting. Okay, so of course, our background is that we are from Alit Hadi Shahid, one of the leading firm of chartered accountants in the UAE. So we have been here in the UAE for the past years. Of course, we belong to also, we are part of the Alit Group, International Alliance of Independent Firm, and of accountants and law firms. Also, we have these are our previous award connected to our international alliances. Of course, we also providing several services, especially our core main services is related to audit and assurance services, and also we have so many management consultancy services. Of course, with the arrival of the indirect tax in the UAE, we're also providing services that relates to value-added tax. Of course, in the near future, Ms. Ethel, am I presenting the slides very well?
1 minute. Arnold, can you expand this thing? The UAE Labour Law presentation, it is just, can you expand it?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, may I expand it more? Because some people have to read it, right? Expand it.
Yes. Are my slides properly running?
Is it all right? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, we have several services that relates to value-added tax. So we have registration from filing the returns. Of course, if you also wanted to have a VT manual, we can also do it for you. Compliances audit, in case that you're filing your past VAT return and then you wanted to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So we can actually review that on your behalf before even the tax audit will come to you. So that's a good preparation. Okay, so we also have we are also providing VAT refunds. Of course, there are so many services that we're providing to VAT services. So if you have some inquiry related to that, of course, we'll be happy to provide your services. And also, for those who are, first time you will be seeing from us, we're conducting a regular webinar. That's a free webinar on a regular basis, so watch out for us. Of course, we are led by Dr. Hadi Shahid and, of course, Dr. Kaiser is our managing partners. We have several offices in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, of course, in Karachi, and in Kabul also. So let's go with our topic. So we have limited time for us to discuss most of it. So of course, I'm hoping that this is only the first one for so many things to be updated. So we will be focusing more on the changes that happen from the old law and the new law. Of course, our main topic for today is the Federal Labor Law, number 33 of 2021. We also call it the new labor law. So it becomes actually effective. It becomes effective last February. So February 2. So for those who are actually here, of course, everyone knows that what happens is that since 1980 is the old labor law. So imagine what is 1980. I could not imagine what is UAE as a whole during those period. Okay. However, of course, in 1980 law, it was designed on the basis of those period. So we can say that it is relevant at the time and for a number of years, but we have to make a changes. Of course, there are so many. The business model has changed. Technology has changed. The people has changed. So it's about time for us to make a very drastic changes on the labor law to cope up with the new, the new environment. This is also, I think, in the previous.
Mr. Arnold, our presentation is stuck. So
I'm not moving it, sir.
huh?
I'm here in the introduction.
The summary, in the summary is stuck.
Okay. Okay, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so now in background, okay, I'm in the background now.
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so as I mentioned, it's been several years since the old law. So now, what is the objectives of the new labor law? Okay, of course, the new actually the improvement in the new labor law came because of the project of the UAE as a whole for the next 50 years. So I think you already experienced those. What are those items that needs to be improved further? So that includes the one that you have seen, amendments to the commercial company law, and of course the new welcome is the change in the labor law as well. So the objectives of the new labor law, to ensure the efficiency of the UAE labor market, to help retain and attract world-class talents. So that is the major objective. Also, of course, the regulating the employment relationship and defining the rights and obligation of the parties. So at the same time, it is also to enhance the flexibility and sustainability of the UAE labor market. So there are so many changes that happen. So one of these is to become more flexible to the changing times. So also, it also includes the improving and developing the capabilities of the skills of the workers in a private sector. So finally, one of the objectives providing protection for both the parties. So actually, there's what we call equality. So there's equal rights to both the employers and employees. In most cases of majority of this actually has become favorable on the employees. Okay, so in these references, we have to show you what are our sources. So our sources, of course, the Federal Decree Law number 33 of 2021. So this is the new labor law, and also the Cabinet Resolution number 1 of 2022, implementing rules of the Federal Decree Law number 33 of 2021. So the first law that we have shown here is the main law. And of course, it is supported by the executive regulations. This is also to inform you that it has been published, both of them. So both of them become effective last February 2 of 2022. So now we can say that we have the complete law. However, more interpretation are still to be made, especially at the recent publication of the executive regulations. So for the meantime, we will be focusing on the main law itself without referencing to the executive regulations. Okay, also as a reminder to everyone, the presentation we're gonna provide you is actually, we will not be providing a legal services on this one. So it's more on information dissemination. At the same time, also, if you have some question, a quick question, you can put it in the chat box. However, we will also not be entertaining the, those that relates to your company legal matters. Okay. However, we'll be happy to see your question by putting it in our emails. Okay, and then we will be answering that.
Can you change the slide? It's stuck on background. Can move the slide, Arnold?
Yes, I'm still in the background, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so let us present the key changes in the labor law. Of course, let's go to the first one. Of course, we have to go to the basic one. Of course, the private sector in the definition. So you're gonna see that in both law they started with the definition of terms, and one thing that we have noted is the definition of the private sector has been included. Okay, in the old law it's not actually presented, so it is not properly defined. So what is the advantage? Okay, so actually the advantage of providing the definition for the private sector is that to define what are the scope of the private sector, because they're actually being affected by the new labor law. So when we say private sector, it includes companies, institutions, establishment, or any entities wholly owned by individual or in the partnership of federal, local government. So also it includes the companies and institution wholly owned by federal, local government. Okay, so that is we can say the main thing. However, if there's another law that pertains to them, it has to be published separately. So another in the definition, of course, is the establishment. Okay, in the new and the old law, it is actually defined in both terms. However, let me just sorry for that. Okay, so let us so I will just highlight whatever is the main difference in the definition, which is very important. The last term of the definition has they also added licensed by the competent authority. So this is so relevant in a way that only those company or we can say the employer who are licensed by the competent authority. So the last highlighted words are not included in that old law. So it means also we can also pertain from the definition itself that the company should be licensed in the UAE for them to apply the term employer. We have also an impression that if an entity is in the UAE on a temporary basis, it will not be applied to them. Only those company in the authorized by the authority. So it can be the mainland or the free zone. Okay. So also we have to mention also another changes in the definition of the worker. So there's what we call the definition is actually also included in the previous law.
Move the slide. Move the slide.
I'm now in overhaul of the definition of the worker.
Can you move that?
Yes, I already moved it.
No, it's not coming there. It's on the background.
Okay.
Why don't Ms. Ethel can share to do that? Okay. Okay, Ms. Allen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Ms. Ethel. can you please, Ms. Ethel?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Can we go back to the slides, please?
Definition.
Okay. Can we please blow up the screen? Thank you. Okay. So let's. Okay. Thank you. Can you move forward? Okay. So can you move forward? Okay. So in this case, let's move forward. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So in terms of the definition, the definition of the worker. So what we have mentioned here is that the improvement in the definition of the worker. So it pertains, revised definition includes the clause authorized by the ministry. So they properly define the Ministry of Human Resources and Emeritation. So can we go to the next slide? Thank you. Of course, there's an improvement in the definition of the juvenile. Okay, so actually, the term juvenile is also included in the old law. However, what we have seen so far is that they included it in the definitions of the terms. Okay, so we can say that the juvenile is every person who has not reached 15 years old above. Of course, in the same clause in the old labor law that you cannot actually employ a juvenile that is below the 15 years old. However, you can employ those above the 15 years old and below the 18. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Of course, that's a welcome change when it comes to the basic wage and wages, because this is so important. So there will be some computation that relates to the basic wage and also the wage itself. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so when it comes to the workplace, also another welcome improvement in the definition. When it comes to the workplace, it pertains to a work location agreed upon in the employment contract, or which the worker undertakes agreed tasks and services. In this case, what happened? It is not actually included in the definition in the old law, because when we say workplace nowadays, of course, basically there's what we can say that people are allowed to work in their office or in any location, whether it is remotely. So in this case, the labor law has taken this in a proper, in the actual labor law. Can we another one? Can you click it? Another one, Ms. Eto? Okay, so of course, what is the coverage of the application of the new U.A.E. labor law? So in this case, what happened is that it is applied actually in the new labor law. It is applied to all the private sector. Okay, that includes the establishment, employers in the U.A.E., employees in the private sector, including agricultural employees. What happened here is that the U.A.E. labor law will not be covering those employees in the federal and local government entities, those members of the armed forces and police and security services, also excluding the domestic employees. And of course, before, there's no provision for the agricultural employees. But now, we can see in the new labor law, they're already included. So that is the last item wherein it is also applied. Okay, so let us, okay. So nowadays, what happens that also we have to look at the major changes. So the major changes is what we call employment contract. So before in the old law, we have a limited and unlimited. However, now all contracts are now a fixed contract. Okay, so what are the features? So it must not exceed 3 years. So it means that the maximum cap is 3 years. Okay. However, it means that it can be less based on the agreement between the parties. When we say parties, that is an employer and employee. May also be renewed for a shorter or but not more than 3 years. So that's the maximum. So this is a reminder to everyone that before February 1, 2023, all of the companies in the UAE must have to adjust their all the contracts, and then all of them should have a fixed term contract. So the deadline to do that is February 23. Next slides, please. So, okay, okay, more. Okay, thank you, thank you. One more. Okay, so in the previous law, we have only what full-time employees. Okay, what happened? Sorry for that. Okay, so I'll just have to regarding this one, only the full-time were mentioned in the old law. However, this is also to inform you that, you know, in 2019, they already made an amendments to this one, wherein they already allowed a part-time employees. So it is enacted by actual law. So we call it the Ministerial Decree number 31 of 2019. So they allow the part-time, okay. And also it was further amended. Of course, you know what happened to the pandemic. So in 2020, it was actually enhanced. So in the new law, we have a full-time, we have the part-time, a temporary work, and a flexible work. So now the business model has changed from, so it is a new welcome addition to that. So in this case, you have to take note of your old contract, and then on the basis of these four, okay, actually we can say that the fifth one is depends on the agreement between the employer and employer. Next slides, please. Can we go back? Okay. When it comes to the wages and its payment, where wages actually in the old law, we can only pay it through the UAE dirhams. Okay. Of course, it has mentioned that you have to do it through WPS. However, when it comes to the new labor law, it states that you can actually you can pay your employees on dirhams or any other currency, provided it is being agreed by both parties. Of course, when it comes to the probationary, there are certain huge amendment. So all of them in the old law, there's a maximum of 6 months. Okay. And of course, either party are allowed to terminate the contract. Okay. However, when it comes to the new law, okay, the main amendments are, of course, it remains as the 6 months. Okay, that is a maximum of 6 months. And of course, this time the employer must provide a notice. That is 14 days from the dismissal date. So the notice period is actually mandatory nowadays. Of course, in case there should be a 1 month notice in case that the employee is going to join another company. So in this case, what happened is that the fourth one is the cost related to hiring the employee. So in this case, what happened is that in case that the employee is actually leaving your company and then joining another company during the probation, the employer can actually claim the employment costs from the employee. Okay, so this is an additional thing. However, in this case, what happens is that it is important that you have to mention this in the contract. If not stated, then you cannot claim this one. So another one is the annual leave, of course. Let's talk about the annual leave. Okay, so in this case, in the previous law, that is 2 days per month for 6 months. We have mentioned 6 months because of after the probationary period. And of course, after the first year and onwards, it should be 30 calendar days. And then the last year of service, it is to be prorated. So in this case, can we go back, please? Can we go back? Okay. Okay. Now let's go to maternity leave. So can we go back a little, please, Ms. Etro? Okay. So in this case, what is the main changes? So regarding the carry forward. So nowadays, before it was carry forward automatically, but in this case, with the new law, the leave may be carried over to the next year, subject to the approval of the employer. So in this case, you have to take note of your the contract, labor contract. It has to be mentioned there, and also the annual leave will include the holidays stipulated by the law. And the last items that the employer cannot prevent employee from using the annual leave for more than 2 years. So those are the things that those are the changes when it comes to the employee benefits as to annual leave. So can we go to the next slide, please? Maternity leave. So in this case, okay. So in this case, what happens that it's the same 45 days for the full wage when it comes to the previous law. However, in the new law, it is actually we can say it is the actual is actually increased to 60 days. So 45 days of full wage and additional 15 days that is a half wage. And of course, there's a if in case that there are when it comes to complication that that occurred due to the ailment, okay, you can actually extend that to 45 days. However, that will be unpaid. Okay, additional 30 days if the infant or the mother has a special needs, and then it is renewable. Actually, when you're gonna renew it, the next 30 days will not be paid leave. And of course, one thing about here is the additional of the last item, the 2 breastfeed breaks per day. However, it should not be exceeding 1 hour in total for 6 months after giving the birth. Another thing here is the paternity will be 5 days. It will be the same as in the old law. Can we go to the next one? About the sick leave, okay? It will be the same as before. Okay, so in this case, there's what we call a compassionate leave, or in case we call it a bereavement leave when it comes to the new labor law. It is not there, however, it is now included. So that is a 5 days for the death of the spouse, or 3 days in case of the death of a mother or father, son, daughter, sibling, grandchildren, and grandparents. Yes, can we go to the next one? Also, there's what we call a study leave. This is not included in the old law. So in this case, there's what we call a 10 days for the paid 10 days for the study leave. So this is actually per year. So what will happen is that it should be, take note of the last item. It should be enrolled in the accredited institution in the UAE. In case that you are not enrolled on a accredited institution in the UAE, it will not be applied to the employee. Can we go to the next slide, please? There's also what we call a sabbatical leave. Okay, this one relates to the UAE national employees only, or reserved services. For the end of service benefit, the first thing is about the calculation. So there have been so many questions related to this. However, let's go to the previous law. No, can we go back, please? In the previous law, so when it comes to the calculation, can we go back, please? No. Here. Next, please. Okay, this one. So when it comes to the calculation, we can mention that the calculation, the old law will be the same as the new law. However, I think some of us have seen the drafted law wherein they mentioned about the working days. So actually, it's not that way. So in case the employee is actually in the UAE currently resigning, what happens that you have to. Okay, so in this case, you have to compute it on the basis of the past law. Can we go to the next slide, please? When it comes to the end of service benefit and the settlement. Okay, so in this case, the end of service benefit settlement. So before employee summary dismiss will not be entitled to end of service benefit. Okay, okay. And for those employees that already resigned with less than 5 years, you're gonna have to calculate the end of service benefit on a prorated basis. However, in the new law, okay, there are many changes here. Number one is that the employee who was dismissed can actually retain their end of service benefit. So there's no major reduction applied on the employee if they resigned. And of course, one major change here is that the settlement of the end of service benefit must be settled within the 14 days from the termination day. Of course, another thing here is that okay, here we come to non-competition restriction. It is actually mentioned also in the old law. However, it is we can say that there's more clarity on the new law. So it can non-competition. It means that the employee is actually resigning and then joining to another company. So if what happens is that if there's a restriction that is mentioned, you can actually do this through your labor contract, wherein you can make a provision until the 2 years. For example, for example, a CEO cannot join to another company that is actually a direct competition. So you can make a restriction for next 2 years. Okay, but one thing about it is that you have to mention it in the labor contract. Okay. Of course, the more another important here is the no discrimination clauses. Okay, wherein it's not mentioned in the old labor law. However, you know, there are certain law that is that actually deals with the discrimination, especially in the UAE nowadays. No, there's another law that holds this one. However, it was in the new labor law. It was actually more pronounced, even if there's already a law that pertains to this. So, when it case no discrimination clause, the basis race, color, sex, religion, nationality, or even the social origin or disability. So these are one of the major things in the. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. Harassment also. There's what we call no harassment when it comes to. So although there's another law that pertains to this, but you know, in the new labor law, the sexual harassment, bullying, or any verbal psychological violence is prohibited. Okay, yes, regarding the working days, I didn't find it in the main law. However, the main changes is of course, the move of the weekends to Saturday and Sundays. So in this case, we have seen that it was published in the, you know, before the end of 2021, wherein all government entities will be moving their weekends during Saturday and Sundays. And of course, for Friday, they're gonna work for half day. So for what is the effect on the private companies? Actually, what happens that it's not mandatory for you to do, to comply all of this, but you can based on the strategy. So I think most of the company we have encountered is that they already move on the same basis to match with the international working hours. Okay, so we can see that working hours, it will be in the old law. We can say in the new law, the total working hours may not exceed 144 hours per 3 weeks. What happens that in this case, if you're going to calculate it, that is 8 hours per day. Okay, but in a given week, there should be one holiday. Can we next slides, please? Okay, overtime. The limit of for the overtime, of course, it will be the same as before. However, we can say that overtime pay will not exceed 2 hours. Okay, and 1.25 times for the premiums. Okay, and of course, what happened here is that the overtime in the old law is actually between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. So in this case, the main changes is actually the time when it comes to the 10 p.m. And 4 a.m. Compared to the previous 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. But the premium will be the same. Okay. In this case, the notice period in the old labor law, that is what we call 30 days. What happened in here, there's what we call for the new labor law, you have to take note of the 30 days for the employees up to 5 years, 60 days for employees within the 5 to 10 years of service, and more than 10 years in the service, the notice period should be 90 days onward. Okay, Ms. Eto, can we move forward? So, can we move forward, Ms. Eto? So there's also what we call a disciplinary action, wherein you can do that in so many ways nowadays. So there's what we call a written notice, a written warning also. So deduction of not less than 5 days per month from the wages, and also at the same time, you can actually do a suspension. And also there's what we call another ways of providing disciplinary actions. Ms. Ethel, can we go to the next slide? In this case, I will be discussing more on the new law only. Employment contract is terminated in any of the following cases. So there's what we call a written agreement of both parties upon its termination and expiry of a specified time. Okay, so these are the scenario wherein the employment contract can actually terminate. Ms. Ethel, I'll just show the last part of the slides. Can I have the capability to share the screen, please? I'll go to the last part. So in this case, I'll just go through my last, okay. So it's more on the compliance focus. So those are the major changes. Some of the changes will be discussed by our next presenter. But in this case, I just want to focus more on the okay, so nowadays, some of this will be changed, will be discussed by our next presenter. But before I end my presentation, I want you to let's go to the compliance focus. So we have to make you have to actually in order for you to adapt to the new changes. So you have to revisit the employee contracts. Okay, that is a must. All of us should have a fixed contract before the end of February 2 of 2023. So we have to start early. So when we say start early, you have to do it on the individual employees that you have. Okay. In case that you have more employees, so it means that you have to start early. But if you have a limited number of staff, but it's already more than half of the year, so you have to do it. Okay. So consider also obtaining the recent and updated templates. So it is now actually let us give you an update whether it is already been available. But our presumption it is already been published. So in this case, that you have to try to obtain that one so that you can actually use those templates for your purposes. Of course, we have to review the HR policies. So in case that you have a HR policy, you have to review and whether it is in parallel with the new law, of course, and then of course reflect the changes. At the same time, employee training is also a must. So if you haven't done this internally, okay, our recommendation is that you have to do it. Okay, and of course you have to use the law. If you don't have a copy of the major law, I think all of us having a copy of the main law. However, if you don't have a copy of the cabinet resolution, it is now available in English copy. Of course, you have to reassess also the payment arrangement of your employee, and of course, review and automate the computation. The computation is very important. Okay, in case that there are certain changes on the main computation, and so in this case you have to update your templates, and of course remember to the deadline. Of course you have to secure that one. All of us should be moved to the contract before the February 1. Of course the formal training. Okay. Of course, not only the HR staff, but the employees when it comes to discrimination and harassment. So that is so important. Okay, so if you need help, feel free to call us. So we'll be happy to extend, a support to your company. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you attend the question during this time when it's addressing Mr. Azhar will be telling? Over to Dr. Hadisai.
I think we'll take the question and answer at the end of the presentations.
Okay, sure.
So thank you very much, Anil.
Thank you.
Very good and detailed presentation. And I think it's a good learning for all of us, the whole audience. Thanks. I know that you've not been well, but you made sure that you are here on this important webinar. We have Mr. Azhar Ali, the Academic Director, Tatweer Industrial Inspection and Training Services. Azhar is already in the training services and will give us a deep experience of his on the Labor Laws 2022. Azhar, the forum is with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to welcome all the attendees which are with us, and after that would like to say thanks to the Pakistan Business Professional Council and also the Pakistani Embassy. They has given us the chance, they has given us the opportunity to us to speak, and also to the other people to learn the labor laws, because most of people they don't know the laws and they don't know the regulations. As I am the health and safety trainer, first of all I would like to give a little introduction. That my name is Azhar Ali, and I'm approved technical manager from the Dubai Municipality and Abu Dhabi Municipality, and I'm also approved academic director from the Vocational Training Institute Abu Dhabi. So we are providing the trainings, like I'm a health and safety trainer, and I have given maybe in 8-year careers I have delivering so many trainings. and like due to the safety related courses and the other courses, also the human resources like that. So what I feel there, because many of the laborers they are get contacted to me, and when I'm going for the training, mostly people's like they used to cry because of miscommitments, because they don't know the rights, they don't know the commitments. So whatever they are doing, they are taking giving the signature and everything is finished, but after end they came to know that there is a problem. But right now also it is a very good effort from the leader of the UAE. What they did, they already made a plan to give them a training before signing a contract. So whenever there is a new visa process, the people should has to go or any labor changes, something is there, the people should has to go to the labor court, and they have to attend the training course, and then only they will be signed on the contract. They will be know the nature of contract, they will be know everything about that. Okay, so what is our session today? We are going to discuss on the labor laws. Okay, that as we have seen, the new version was came on the 2021, and it was going to be take place in 2022 February. So actually, what is the benefit and objectives of this law, that it was take place on 2 February like that? So labor law will take effect with major reforms that represent a major update of the UAE employment legislation. These are designed to look ahead to more dynamic labor market for the 21st century and increase the UAE's talent and knowledge base. These changes also bring into sharper focus greater safeguard to employees' rights in the private sector. The changes intended to address the concerns of employers and employees alike in the changing landscape of recruiting and retaining employees in the UAE. Similarly, one of the main aim of the new UAE labor law is to culture sensible and hardworking adults and ensuring more flexibility in the employment market. The blog highlights the major amendments and additions made by the Federal Decree Law 33 of the 221. The version was 221, so they implemented on the February 2022. So actually, what are the the major changes they have been implemented, they amended while they are making the labor, they was changing the labor laws. Like first of all, actually introducing new flexible working models. After that, increasing employee mobility, unifying labor contracts, flexible work shifts and models, anti-competitive protections, changes in the prohibition periods, introducing younger workforce, contractual additions and requirements, end of service schemes, judicial fees, leaves and vacations, and then also something updating the contracts, like about the labor contracts that now already from unlimited limited to only limited are fixed. So for that only they have given 1 year from the February 2. So for the till 2023 like 2023, the agreement should be changed to a limited, and all the responsibility will goes to the employer for that. So first of all, I would like to say something on the new flexible working models. So according to the new UAE labor law, employees can now take up part-time jobs in addition to their full-time jobs without having to seek permission from their employers. The only requirement would be temporary work permit to ensure that employees do not work for more than 144 hours for their safety and well-being. So first only it was like you can say it was only a permanent employee. You should has to take the visa and you should be work under that only. And employee, you can take the 6 months. What do we call this on 6 months? You can take the 6 months contract, the temporary contract, but it should be you should has to take the permission from your employee. But now you only can go and you can work, but the contract should be there temporary contract, and then the other contract should be there once you are working with someone else rather than your permanent employer. Then increasing employee mobility. So this is a point that mostly people they are unaware about, and mostly even the social medias, these questions they are highlighting every day, and most of the time probably even the Gulf News they highlighted this question from some of the writer. So here, what is the law here? Like, employers are prohibited to withhold your official documents like a passport, Emirates ID, or some documents. They cannot take the documents with them because this is your property and this should be with you. And if some employers they want to take this one, even actually they are not with they cannot hold with us with them because it is not allowed. So unfined labor contracts. So as per the new UAE labor law, unlimited contracts will no longer be issued. So the laws, the new UAE labor laws, which will not affect from 2022 to February. Now every employer they should has 1 year to change the contract from limited, unlimited to fixed contract. So here what was happening in the labor laws, it was like most probably what was happening, it was unlimited law and limited law, the both was issuing to the organization. One guy they can issue contracts, and also they can make unlimited contract for that, but now only it is fixed contracts. Now, flexible work shifts and models. Employees can now work hourly on project by project basis, or under flexible temporary or part-time conditions while their rights are assured in contractual agreement. A variety of job models are introduced in the new amendment, including condensed work weeks and shared jobs, along with the conditions and responsibilities of employers and employees. Okay, so there are flexible work shifts, like now it is 48 hours a week they can do the jobs, and also the flexible work shifts they can take the shifts. After that, anti-competitive protections, and employer can require employees not to participate in a competing projects in the same sector for a maximum of 2 years after terminating their employment, if the worker provides them with access to the employer's clients or professional secrets. So here basically the main thing what we are focusing here, the businessmen and then other people, what they're focusing, they are facing the issues here, like the employees, he worked with them, he learned with them, and then all the data he's like with some more salaries, they are going to the other competitor, they are taking all the data, all the client list and everything, and it is, you know, a loss for the company and organization. So this law is already defined. If you had an issue with an employee that you think that he can do something, so before visa processing in the contract you can mention this clause, so it is better for you. So next time the businessman will not face this kind of issues. Maybe they will, because mostly it's happening like that. The people, they are coming, they are learning, they are taking the data, and they are going to the other organizations, and this makes loss to the previous organization. So now they can control with this for the next 2 years. They cannot work with any competitor companies, and also they should has to take action within 1 year. Like the already one employee is working with the another competitor organization, and he maybe after 1 year he came to know, that time he cannot file a case or anything. It should be before, within 1 year he should has to report a case to a ministry. Okay, now the changes in the probation period. So employers are now required to provide a minimum of 14 days written notice period before terminating an employee under probation periods. And if employee want to quit the company, he got a good job or something, so he should has to give 1 month period notice before leaving the company. or if he want to leave the country, like if he don't want to stay inside the country, he want to leave the country. So within 14-year notice, he can go and he can give the notice and he can leave the country. Okay, so also I wanted to add one more thing, introducing younger workforce. So under the UAE law, new UAE Labour Law, teenagers aged 15 and above are allowed to work in part-time jobs which should not exceed 6 hours a day. Okay, so in 6 hours a day, they can job, and 4 hour consecutive they can do the job. Like after 4 hours, 1 hour break should be there for them consecutively. Okay, and they cannot job between 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Okay, and the environment where they are working, the employer should ensure that the work is not filled with hazardous or chemical areas like that. And there should be, if somebody want to hire a young worker, driven lines, so what we should has to do for that, there should be guardian consent should be there. The guardian should be give the letter as a consent that they don't, no objection letter you can say. So after that only employee can hire this this kind of workforce. Then contractual additions and requirements. So what are the contractual additions and requirements? So the information that should be written in the employment contracts, including the job or profession, joining date, place of work, rest days, working hours, provision, the duration of the contract, the wage, annual leave, notice period, and procedure for contract termination. So everything should be mentioned when they are going to do the contract, a new contract, or it will be contract based, and there should be period should be mentioned there, date should be mentioned there, work environmental, the designation, the end service benefits, everything should be mentioned there in the contractual agreement. Then end of service scheme, employees in the federal government and the private sector will avail same end of service benefits. Okay, so there will be sector federal government employees are entitled to gratuity of 21 days basic salary of each years of the first 5 years of employment, and after 5 years they will get 30 days gratuity per year. So then the judicial fees. So what is judicial fees? Before, actually, if employee want to do a case, he need to pay something, there will be some fees. But in this new agreement, okay, they clearly mention if the case is under 100,000 dirhams, the employee no need to pay any fee. Without fee, he can file a case, he can follow a case and everything. Then leaves and vacation. So first of all private sector employees entitled to 30 days of annual leaves, given that the employee completes at least 1 year of the service with the employer. And for the mother maternity leave, so 45 days she can take a leave, 45 days she can take a leave, 45 days, 60 days, 45 days will be full paid and 15 days other will be half paid. And in another scenario, if she wants, maybe the baby is not feeling well or sick, so she can take extra 60 days leave. Within 6 months, she can take extra 60 days leave. 30 days will be paid and 30 days will be without pay. And then employer must provide 10 days leave to part-time postgraduate students after they have completed 2 years of works. So they have completed 2 years postgraduate students. So 10 days leave, the employer should provide the 10 days leave. Okay, in the case of death of wife or son or husband, they can take leave up to 5 days. And in the case of death of father, mother or brother, they can take 3 days leave according to the new UAE Labour Law. So also just wanted to add one more thing, like the employer cannot take their passports and the Emirates ID, and also they cannot force them to leave country immediately. So this is the rights of employees. They cannot leave they can be here, and they can search for the new opportunities and all. So basically, when we are when we fail, once we don't know the standards, we don't know the criteria of laws, we are fail on that way, because most of the people's, even the law is very strict. The law is very strict here in the UAE. From past 3 years, I'm checking, they are going everywhere. If there is 1 or 2 months salary is failed in the WPS. So what is happening there? The guys from the Mohre, the people, they are going to the company, they are searching, they are interviewing to the employees that your salaries are coming, why they are not paying the salaries. Even the accountant, they are going there and they are seeking for that. So actually, first of all, they are supporting us, and they are supporting us properly. They are taking care for us for everything. But the thing is that we should know the laws and regulations, because the employers also, at least they should hold the record properly. There should be an agreement and everything, because mostly the people, they are getting the visas and they want to work with the other company. So I just wanted to explain one story. That is what is happening. My one of friend, he gave the visa to one of employee, one of guy. He took the visa and then he did the accident. One guy was dead that time. So immediately this guy has left the company, and the car was the name of the same company, and the owner was get structed here. For 1 year he was get structed. He was unable to go to home country. He was blacklisted because of these issues and because of this reason. So whenever we are going to do the any contracts, properly signed and properly we should have to implement in the labor department. So everything, the notification, they should be know the things and all. So again, actually, I just wanted to say thanks to the Pakistan Business Professional Council that they have been arranging this session to know the people that what are their rights and what are the obligations they should have to provide. So we work in properly in safe environment. So also the employer is responsible for health and safety of their employees. The environmental should be safe, okay, and there should be no any hazard. Those effects are there which the guy can be affected or labor can be affected. So thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Sir Gondal Imtiaz and also Sir Kasranis. So thank you so much for everyone that has given me the opportunity to explain the things. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azhar Ali. A good presentation, and we can see a trainer is speaking for the detailed labor laws and its implementation. Thank you very much. I will be requesting Mr. Muhammad Iqbal Naseem. I guess he will just be attending to take up the question and answer sessions. He'll be taking up the Q&A session for this seminar. Iqbal, would you please take up the roster?
Dr. Saab, you may continue with the QA session. I'll appreciate it.
The speakers have hardly left a time because already 4:30. But however, I'll take up some questions.
So,
Question is from Murali Vasanathan. The labor law requires the all unlimited contracts to be changed to the limited contracts by February 2023. However, we visited the SEAL Center to do the change. They advised that not required to change as of now. Please advise. Would anybody answer this?
it can go up to February, after February 23. They say so. After February 23, you can do that.
I guess it is on the renewal. Whenever the contract is renewed,
they can do only after when they February 23.
I said. Would any one of you, Azhar or Anand?
I'll take that one, sir. Actually, what happened is that there's already a template that's already been published for the mainland company and free zone. So I think that will be relevant for us to base our contract there. So I think you have to revisit again because as I mentioned, the executive regulation has recently been published. I think that's one of the reason. But I think you have to revisit again in the next coming months to come. The
Thank
deadline,
you.
by the way, to convert all of it is on February 1, 2023.
Yeah. Then is our Professor Dr. M.N. Brohi Saab. And then he said, can I work as a full-time employee in any organization, company, if any visa sponsors? But yes, you can, but you have to have a labor contract for that. And could you please re-explain data protection rule, as you said that after receiving training, we can't leave the organization immediately. Yeah, there's a period limitation of 2 years' time. Next question. All question attended? Okay.
Some of the question that has been typed here, I already answered them on for everyone to see.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Dr. Kaiser, take it up. I guess all questions have been answered, which have been.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Adishai Saab, for coming in and doing such a great presentation and doing the best for this webinar. And with that, I thank Pakistan Embassy for leading on this together with Pakistan Business Council. I hope all the participants have been educated on this thing, and still if they have any question, they can contact us on the subject. And there are a lot of important things said by Mr. Arnold and Mr. Azhar, and especially one most important thing is the contract. Contract is the key point. Once you sign a contract for both for employee and employer, you have to be careful in doing that. Before it was not like that, it was fixed. Now you can adjust your contract as per your requirement, both employee and employer, and that time you can negotiate. That is my suggestion for all the listeners, all the employee or employer to focus on that paper, which is very important document. Otherwise, this labor law will give a very good benefit to both of employee and employer. And I also thank Mr. Iqbal, who is the Vice President Program, who was organized this initially everything, and the future program on his behalf. I already announced that there's another program coming on 27th August on the Pakistan at 75. It's going to be very important event and in the open way, and it will be from 5 to 11 o'clock in one of the leading hotels. With that, I'd also lastly thank Mr. Excellency Gondar Saab and Mr. Samiullah Saab for be there for all the time. And we are very thankful to all the embassy staff on the subject who have arranged that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.